Hey, pure spirits, it's your life coach Diamond. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This video is for pure spirits and pure spirits only. Today I will be talking about self-forgiveness, like I promised. All right, so let's get into it. So the other day, God was speaking to me about forgiveness. As I was doing what I normally do, letting go and forgiving others, he asked me, but are you going to forgive yourself? And I was like, of course, don't I always? He was like, yeah, about some things. You know, in that moment, it hit me and it made me realize that self-forgiveness is just as important, because he gave me the breakdown on why after, right? So basically, when you don't forgive yourself, you don't trust yourself, right? Keep following. You hesitate to try new things, take chances, and embrace new opportunities, right? Instead, you let the past experiences shape your fears. You might blame yourself for not seeing through a fake friend, a toxic family member, or a deceptive mentor or partner for who they were. You forgive them, but if you don't forgive yourself, you start believing that everyone is like that, which makes it hard to navigate life. But once you forgive yourself, you recognize that you've gained the tools to move forward. What happened before won't happen again, because now you have your own back, right? It's all a domino effect. I know for me, after being hurt by people I once called best friends and partners, it was very hard to trust new connections. But true healing comes with forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. And once I did that, I was able to build new relationships, you know, this time with a deeper understanding of who I am and what I want. Okay? Self-forgiveness brings clarity. It allows you to say, I've seen this pattern before and I'm not putting myself through it again. Instead of just assuming that everyone is that person without giving them a chance. You know, that's not bitterness. It's wisdom. When you forgive yourself, you open the door for new blessings and opportunities from God. Whether you're spiritual or not, this is key to personal growth. Trusting yourself and having confidence go hand in hand, right? If you let past pain keep you isolated, you're missing out on the world God created for you. I know this because I've literally been there, okay? But through healing, I've learned that God didn't allow those experiences to break me. He allowed them to build my discernment so I could recognize the right people and situations moving forward, right? So if I never forgave myself for that on and off toxic relationship that I was in and thought that everyone was like that individual, I would have never been able to open up and give my husband a chance to love me as deeply as he does. Coming from that perspective before, I never would have seen myself here at this time in my life. Never. But I had to forgive the person and I had to forgive myself. And when I forgave myself, it gave me time to heal, to know what I'm looking for and what I deserve. And I had faith in God that, you know, I deserved more. And after going through emotional abuse and narcissism, you know, it is very hard to believe that there's more out there for you when you trusted someone to pour into you and they just brought you down so low. You know, if it wasn't for God, I don't know how I would have brought myself back up from that relationship. And it really did break me at the time, y'all. It really did. Anybody who knows, they know. But for me now to finally be happy, and then this is my husband, the father of my children, you know, like I already had kind of a friendship with him. You know, and when I first met my husband, I was actually skeptical about being with him because of the toxic relationship I was in before him. right? And then I stopped talking to him, got back in a toxic relationship. And then after, 10 years of my life, I was like, I'm done. Then for the next 4 years, I really was working on me. Yeah, I was talking to people here and there, but I really wasn't like fully invested the same. And I thought that that's how it will always be, and then God reconnected my husband and I, and, I took my time. Any red flags that I saw, I addressed them. My husband and I communicated. We worked on whatever issues we had, and we got to the place where we are now, where it's so healthy. And it started off healthy, but you do have to teach people how to treat you and vice versa. You have to know how people want to be treated, and everyone's different. And, even my husband went through toxic relationships. So him being with me, as I've been told, is also refreshing for him. And he didn't see this being something that would happen for him either, So it is, and we're both God-fearing, so it's really God ordained. And I could say the same with friendships as well. And family members, you know what I mean? I had a lot of family members I was very close with who've done very deep, very cutting acts of betrayal. And, after those things happened, I didn't trust the rest of my family. I was very closed off to having relationships with family members. And there was a whole other side of my family I never got to connect with. And when I did, I got to take my time and really nurture long-lasting relationships with different people. So, if I did not forgive myself, I wouldn't have been able to heal from that situation or those situations, and the same thing for friendships, after the first person I called my very best friend in high school betrayed me and became jealous of me and, just was trying to just be little me and things like that. It was up from there. I didn't trust anyone. I didn't want any new friends. I didn't even like women being around me. And now they're the women who I just left as acquaintances and, just people I, talk to in passing. Those women were always open to have friendships with me. But because I felt like I already had my clique, I didn't really build close relationships. And then when things went left with the close friends and circles that I had, I was even more closed off to being even anything closer with them, And funny enough, when I forgave myself for not seeing through the fake friends, not seeing through all the red flags of them being jealous of me the entire time and just different things that they did, it gave me opportunity to be open to the new friendships that I'm building with people. And it's just crazy how God does that for you. Forgiveness is important for you to give to the other person because it's for you, but so is forgiveness of yourself. Because when you don't forgive yourself, it gives you this feeling where you just feel like you can't trust people because really you don't trust yourself after what you weren't able to see before. But that's how life is. That's why it says we have to get back to that feeling we had as, children where we fall 1,000 times and get back up, As adults, I hate to say it, but it's like we're more afraid. We need to get back to that childlike state when it comes to that. But unlike a child, you do have the wisdom to discern, you know what? I'm not going to go this direction because I got really hurt last time. I'm going to take this trail and I'm going to be mindful of the steps that I take. And if I fall, I'll just learn, okay, when I go down this trail, there's a deep steep over here. You get what I'm saying? Like, oh, there's a slope that's making it harder to go up. And that's how we got to manage and navigate through life after hurts and betrayals. And you will get less hurt and less betrayed the more that you discern and guard your heart, like the Bible says. Self-forgiveness starts with it's not my fault that they did what they did. I couldn't have seen that coming. And then it gives you an option to see, okay, well, there's a red flag. Okay, well, I'll notate that people who do things like this do things like that. Okay? And it'll get easier for you. But it's not your fault that you were good to someone and they were horrible to you. They will spend the rest of their lives regretting that. Thank you, Pure Spirit, so much for tuning into another video. I love you guys. Ciao. It's your life coach, Diamond, signing out.